The sun was setting over Earth, casting long shadows over the desolate remains of what once was New York City. Here, under the iron-fisted rule of the Galactic Council, humanity had been reduced to scavengers in their own homeland. The towering remnants of skyscrapers stood as silent witnesses to a civilization stripped of its dignity, its resources, and its freedom. Alex, once an engineer of some note, now huddled in the shadows of a crumbling factory, his hands deftly working on a device no larger than a book, but infinitely more dangerous. This was no ordinary gadget. It was a beacon, a silent scream into the cosmos for help, for allies, for anything that could tip the scales against the relentless oppression of the Galactic Council. The Council, a conglomerate of the oldest and most powerful races in the galaxy, had long viewed lesser species like humans as little more than resources. Their cruelty knew no bounds, from strip mining planets to the public execution of those who dared speak against their rule. Today was no exception. In the city square, surrounded by the ruins of what was once a bustling marketplace, a crowd was forcibly gathered to witness the execution of Senator Marcus, a human who had been the voice of resistance. The scene was grim. Council enforcers, their alien armor gleaming under the artificial lights, dragged Marcus to a raised platform. The air was thick with fear, the silence only broken by the hum of the execution device. Alex watched from afar, his heart heavy. He remembered Marcus from better days, discussing plans for a peaceful coexistence with the Council. But peace was not in their lexicon. As the execution unfolded, Alex felt the weight of despair. Yet, this despair fueled his resolve. He looked down at the beacon, his last hope, knowing that if this failed, humanity might never rise again. He turned away, his steps echoing in the empty factory halls, each step a reminder of what had been lost and what was at stake. The device was nearly complete, its potential for change enormous, yet terrifying. If the wrong ears picked up its signal, it could bring down not just the wrath of the Council, but annihilation upon Earth. In the dim light, he attached the final component, a piece of technology he had salvaged from an ancient human satellite, something so old it predated even the Council's notice of Earth. A piece of history, now a gamble for the future. Outside, the night was falling, and with it, the oppressive watch of the Council's patrols intensified. Alex knew he had only hours before his actions could be detected. He activated the beacon, a soft blue light pulsing silently, sending its message into the void. As he concealed the device, his mind raced with possibilities. Would anyone out there understand the signal? Would they care? Or would this be just another act of defiance swallowed by the vast silence of space? With the beacon now broadcasting, Alex slipped into the night, his path uncertain, his future unwritten. But in that moment, under the cover of darkness, a small ember of hope flickered to life within him, the first in years. The fight for freedom had just begun, and whether it would lead to salvation or destruction was yet to be seen. But one thing was clear: humanity would not go quietly into the night. The dawn was somber, painting the sky over the abandoned space station, Echo, with hues of gray and purple, a stark reminder of the life that once thrived here. Now, it served as a clandestine hub for humanity's last stand. Alex made his way through the labyrinthine corridors, his steps echoing in the emptiness, each one a testament to his commitment. The beacon had been sent, and now the wait was on. He entered the room where the others were gathered, a small but determined group of rebels, human and alien alike, all bound by a shared hatred for the Council. At the head of the table sat Lyra, a Varian with scales that shimmered like the ocean under sunlight, her eyes sharp with intelligence. Beside her, Darg, a towering Qatar whose very presence seemed to challenge the space around him. "We've got something," Alex announced, his voice cutting through the low murmurs of the room. He projected a hologram from his device, showing the beacon's signal path. "It's weak, but it's there." Someone or something responded. Lyra leaned forward, her scales reflecting the blue light of the hologram. "Could be a trap. The Council could be testing us, seeing if we'll take the bait." Darg's deep voice rumbled. "Or it could be allies. We're not the only ones they've wronged." The tension in the room was palpable, each member weighing the risks. "We can't stay hidden forever," Alex countered. "We need to know, if there's even a sliver of a chance." Jenna, a young human technician with an eye for detail, spoke up. "I've been analyzing the signal. It's not like anything the Council uses. It's different. Cryptic." "That's what we need," Lyra said, her gaze flicking between the gathered faces. "Mystery. If the Council doesn't understand it, it might not be theirs." They decided to send a reply, a coded message asking for a meeting, the location set at an asteroid belt known for its gravitational anomalies, a perfect place for a secret rendezvous or an ambush. As plans were drawn, the room buzzed with activity, but Alex felt the weight of leadership pressing down. He caught Lyra's eye, and they stepped aside for a moment of privacy. "You trust this?" Lyra asked, her voice low. "I trust in the possibility of freedom," Alex replied, his tone as firm as his resolve. "If we don't take risks, we'll never break free." Lyra nodded, her expression softening. "You've changed since Marcus, since we lost him." "We all have," Alex admitted, the memory of the execution still raw. "But we can't let his death be in vain." Their conversation was cut short by an alert. A Council patrol was nearing their position. The team moved swiftly, their training evident in their silence and efficiency. They maneuvered through Echo's maze-like structure, heading to the escape pods. The escape was tense, with each second feeling like an eternity. As they launched into space, the Council ship loomed in the distance, its scanners surely probing the area. But the rebels had an ace. The station was rigged with false signals, leading the patrol on a wild chase through the debris field. Once clear, they breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the mission had only begun. They were now headed to the asteroid belt, each with thoughts of what might await them. Allies, or a cunning trap by the Council. In the silence of space travel, Alex looked at his companions, each one a story of resistance, each with their reasons to fight. He wondered about the beings they might meet. Would they understand the desperate plea of a once proud species, now fighting for its very survival? The intrigue of the unknown, the hope of finding allies, and the ever-looming threat of the Council wove together, pulling them deeper into this cosmic game of survival and rebellion. The asteroid belt, a chaotic ballet of rock and ice, served as the perfect cloak for secrets. The rebels' ship, disguised to blend with the cosmic debris, maneuvered silently towards the coordinates where they hoped to meet their mysterious respondents. Inside the ship, tension was thick. Jenna worked feverishly at the console, her fingers dancing over the controls. "We're close," she announced, her voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. Lyra, her scales reflecting the dim light of the ship, stood beside Alex, watching the screen. "Remember, we know nothing about them. They could be the Council's trap. We'll be ready for anything, Alex replied, his hand on his weapon, eyes scanning the darkness outside. Darg, always the sentinel, prepared the ship's defenses. If they're not allies, they'll regret engaging us here, he growled, his massive frame belying the delicate touch with which he handled the ship's systems. The ship's sensors pinged with a new signal, and suddenly, from the shadows of an asteroid, another vessel appeared, its design unlike any known to the rebels. Sleek, almost invisible, with edges that seemed to bend light around them. "Who are you?" Lyra transmitted, her voice steady but urgent. A voice, calm and slightly reverberating, came through. "We are the Silent Ones. We heard your call, humans." The ship's interior lights flickered as if the very presence of the Silent Ones was affecting their technology. A hatch opened, and out stepped a figure, cloaked in a material that seemed to absorb light. Their face was obscured, but two luminous eyes stared back at the rebels. Alex felt a chill. This was no ordinary species. "Why help us?" he asked, stepping closer. The figure, who introduced itself as Envar, responded, "Because we, too, have suffered under the Council's rule. We seek the same freedom you do." But as they spoke, another ship, unmistakably of Council design, emerged from the other side of their location. The Silent One's vessel immediately cloaked, vanishing from sight. "Ambush!" Darg shouted, his voice echoing through the ship as he initiated defensive maneuvers. Jenna's fingers flew over the controls. "I'm jamming their sensors, but it won't hold long." The battle was on. Lasers sliced through the darkness, the rebels' ship darting between asteroids for cover. The Silent One's ship, now visible only as distortions in the light, fought with precision, their weapons silent but deadly. In the chaos, Envar's voice came through the comms. "We must retreat to a safer location. Follow my ship." The twist came when another, smaller ship, not of the Council or the Silent Ones, joined the fray. It fired upon the Council vessel, providing cover for the retreat. "Who's that?" Alex asked, bewildered. "Another ally, perhaps," Lyra speculated, her eyes narrowing. The new ship was quick, its maneuvers erratic and unpredictable, leading the Council away. The rebels and the Silent Ones escaped to a hidden asteroid base, where they finally met face to face. Envar removed their cloak, revealing a humanoid form with skin that seemed to shift like water. "We've been watching humanity. Your resilience is inspiring," Envar said, their voice now less mechanical, more personal. Alex, still skeptical, asked, "And the ship that helped us?" "That was not us," Envar admitted. "But there are others in the shadows, watching, waiting." The revelation brought a new layer of intrigue. Who else was out there, and what were their intentions? Darg, always ready for a fight, suggested, "Then we find them. If they're against the Council, they're with us." Jenna, scanning through the data they'd gathered, pointed out anomalies in the attack patterns. "Someone's playing a deeper game here. We might not be the only ones looking to end the Council's reign." The meeting concluded with a tentative alliance. The Silent Ones offered their stealth technology, while the humans shared their battle tactics. They agreed to seek out this mysterious third party, potentially expanding their rebellion into something much larger. As they prepared for this new venture, Alex looked out at the stars, wondering how many more secrets they held. The fight for freedom was growing, the stakes higher than ever, and the universe seemed to be answering their call in ways they had never anticipated. In the heart of the asteroid base, now a burgeoning hub of resistance. The air was electric, with both hope and caution. The meeting with the Silent Ones had opened new possibilities, but it also brought new questions and risks. "We need to find this third party," Alex insisted, his voice echoing in the makeshift war room. "If they're fighting the Council, we need them on our side." Lyra, ever the strategist, nodded in agreement. "But we must tread carefully. We don't know their intentions. They could be spies or worse." Jenna, analyzing the data from the recent skirmish, chimed in. "The ship that helped us uses tech we've never seen before. If we can understand it, imagine what we could do with it." Darg, his size making the room seem smaller, added, "First, we need to find them. I suggest we send out probes, modified to avoid detection, to scan for anomalies in known Council-patrolled areas." Their plan was set. They would use the Silent Ones' stealth technology to cloak their probes, sending them into the depths of space to search for signs of this enigmatic ally or any other resistance cells. As the probes launched, the group turned their attention to organizing their growing forces. The Silent Ones, with their advanced technology, had brought not just stealth capabilities, but also a wealth of intelligence on Council weaknesses. Envar, standing with the rebels, shared, "The Council has grown complacent. Their defenses are strong, but their intelligence is sparse. They rely heavily on fear and intimidation." "That's where we hit them," Alex said, his eyes lighting up with strategy. "We need to show them resistance isn't just human anymore. It's galactic." The conversation was interrupted by an alert from one of the probes. Jenna quickly pulled up the data. "We've got something, an energy signature, unlike anything in our database, near the edge of the Qatar sector." "That's far," Darg noted, his brow furrowing. "And heavily patrolled." "But if it's our mysterious helper, it's worth the risk," Lyra countered. The decision was made to go. They would take a small, stealthy ship, equipped with the latest from both human ingenuity and Silent One's tech. The team consisted of Alex, Lyra, Jenna, and Darg, with Envar as their guide into the unknown. As they approached the Qatar sector, tension filled the ship. The silence was broken only by the hum of their cloaked engines. Suddenly, an unknown ship appeared, not on their sensors, but in their path, materializing out of nowhere. "Identify yourselves," came a voice over the comms, sharp and authoritative, speaking in a language not immediately recognizable, but translated by their ship's AI. Lyra quickly responded, "We are allies of the Silent Ones, seeking to join forces against the Galactic Council." A pause followed, filled with static, before the voice returned. "Very well. You may dock. But know this, one wrong move and you'll find yourselves in a void." They docked with the ship, which was unlike anything they'd seen, a blend of technology and art, with surfaces that seemed to shift and change. Inside, they met beings of light and shadow, their forms hard to define. One stepped forward, introducing themselves as Aaron of the Luminari. "We've been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike," Aaron explained. "Your beacon was the sign we needed." The intrigue deepened as Aaron revealed that the Luminari had been manipulating events from the shadows, ensuring the Council was distracted or misled. They had been the ones who helped during the ambush in the asteroid belt. "We share a common enemy," Aaron continued, "but our methods are unconventional. We seek not just to overthrow the Council, but to heal what has been broken by their rule." The revelation brought both relief and new questions. How many more factions were out there? And could this diverse group truly unite under one banner? As they discussed potential strategies and shared intelligence, the seeds of a larger alliance were sown. But the gathering storm of rebellion was just beginning, with each member now pondering how far they were willing to go to see freedom dawn across the galaxy. The clandestine base was now abuzz with activity, a microcosm of the burgeoning rebellion. Humans, silent ones, and now the enigmatic Luminari worked side by side, their combined knowledge and technology fueling preparations for what could be the first significant strike against the Council. Alex stood before a holographic map of the galaxy, his eyes tracing potential targets. "We need to hit where it hurts," he said, turning to his diverse team. "They're shipyards. Without new ships, their control weakens." Lyra, her scales shimmering with excitement, pointed out. "The shipyards at Valtor are key. They produce nearly half of their fleet, but it's heavily fortified." Aaron of the Luminari floated near, their form composed of light, bending and shifting. "We can provide a distraction. Our technology can mimic signals, make them see threats where there are none." Darg, ever the warrior, growled in agreement. "And we'll strike when they're looking the other way." Jenna, tapping away at her console, added, "I can hack into their systems, disrupt their communications. With the Luminaries' tech, we'll blind them but keep the element of surprise." The plan was daring, involving coordinated actions from all factions. The Silent Ones would deploy cloaked ships to infiltrate the area, the Luminari would create chaos with their signal manipulation, and the humans, with their guerrilla tactics, would execute the main assault. As they prepared, stories of past oppressions mingled with tales of hope for a new future, binding the group in a shared narrative of rebellion. On the day of the attack, the skies above Valtor were clear, the calm before the storm. The Silent One's ships entered first, invisible to the naked eye, setting up for the assault. Aaron's voice came through the comms. "We are in position. The deception begins now." Suddenly, the sky was filled with false signals, ghost ships appearing on Council sensors, pulling their defenses in all directions. "Now!" Alex commanded, and the human ships, disguised as civilian freighters, moved in. They approached under the guise of trade, but at the last moment, their true armaments emerged, turning the peaceful vessels into warships. The battle was fierce. Lasers cut through the void, and explosions lit up the darkness. Jenna's hacking efforts paid off as the shipyard's communication turned to static, sowing confusion among the defenders. Lyra, piloting their lead ship, weaved through the chaos, her voice steady. "Focus on the construction docks. We need to take out their capacity to build." Darg, manning the guns, roared with each shot that found its mark. "For all those they've crushed!" he bellowed, his shots dismantling a partially constructed destroyer. But then, the unexpected. A new fleet, not of the Council, arrived. For a moment, fear gripped the hearts of the rebels until Aaron's voice came through. "They are with us. The Belzarians, another faction against the Council." The Belzarians, with their advanced tech, began to repair the damage done to the rebel ships, healing them in the midst of battle, showcasing their unique ability to manipulate matter. The tide turned. The shipyard was crippled, ships half-built, now debris. As the rebels withdrew, the victory was not just in the physical damage, but in the unity they had achieved. Back at the base, the celebration was muted, the victory tempered by the realization of the long road ahead. Alex looked at his allies, each from a different world, united by a common cause. "We've shown them we can fight back," he said, his voice carrying the weight of their collective future. "But this is just the beginning. They'll come for revenge. The intrigue lay in the new alliances formed, the unknown capabilities of the Belzarians, and the mystery of how many more might join their cause. The forge of war was now alight, but the metal of their resolve would be tested in the fires to come. The success at Valtor had sent shockwaves through the galaxy, but it had also painted a target on the rebels. Now, in the shadows of their hidden base, the air was thick with strategy and urgency. "We've struck a nerve," Lyra said, her scales reflecting the dim light of the strategy room. "They'll hit back, and hard." Alex, his gaze fixed on the star map, responded, "We need to take the fight to them before they regroup. Their capital, Zalor, is where we need to strike next." Envar of the Silent Ones nodded, their form almost melting into the shadows. "Zalor is the heart of their power. If we can disrupt their central command, we might just cripple them." Aaron, their light form flickering with excitement, or perhaps nervousness, added, "We've learned of a superweapon they're developing, the Nexus Cannon. It could end any chance of rebellion if it's completed." Jenna's fingers flew over her console, pulling up data. "I've found the schematics. It's nearly operational. We need to destroy it before it's too late." The plan was audacious. Infiltrate Zalor, sabotage the Nexus Cannon, and strike at the Council's leadership. The team would split, one group to handle the weapon, another to create chaos in the city. As they approached Zalor, the planet loomed large, its defenses formidable. The Silent One's stealth ships cloaked the approach, but tension was palpable. Darg, piloting the lead ship, growled, "We're in their backyard now. No room for mistakes." They landed on the outskirts, where the Silent Ones and Luminari used their technology to cloak the team from sensors. Alex led the group towards the Nexus Cannon's location, while Lyra and Aaron headed to the Central Command to sow discord. The city was a maze of technology and oppression, with patrols everywhere. Alex's team moved like ghosts, thanks to the Silent One's tech, until they reached the heavily guarded facility housing the Nexus Cannon. Inside, the weapon was a marvel and a monstrosity, capable of annihilating planets. "We need to place charges at these points," Alex whispered, pointing to critical junctures on the weapon. The action escalated when alarms suddenly blared. "They've spotted us!" Jenna hissed, her voice tight with fear. Chaos ensued. Council guards swarmed, and a fierce battle began. Alex and his team fought with desperate precision, each shot an explosion echoing through the facility. Meanwhile, Lyra and Aaron, at the command center, used Luminari tech to project illusions, causing panic among the Council's ranks. "Think they'll believe they're under attack from multiple fronts?" Aaron asked with a smirk. "Absolutely." Lyra grinned, watching as Council forces scrambled in confusion. Back at the Nexus Cannon, as the charges were set, a final wave of elite guards attacked. Darg, with his sheer strength, held them off, giving Alex the seconds needed to activate the explosives. "Everyone, out now!" Alex shouted over the comms as they ran. The countdown was merciless, and as they cleared the blast radius, the explosion was cataclysmic, the Nexus Cannon reduced to rubble. The shockwave was felt across Zalor, a beacon of the rebellion's resolve. As they escaped, the sky above was lit with the fires of their defiance, but not without cost. Darg was injured, and the team knew this victory would only make the Council's response more severe. As they returned to their ships, the air was filled with the sounds of celebration and mourning, the duality of war. They had struck at the heart of the beast, but the beast was wounded, not dead, and its retaliation would be swift and deadly. The aftermath of the attack on Zalor was a double-edged sword. The rebellion had dealt a significant blow to the Council, but the repercussions were immediate and brutal. Across the galaxy, Council forces moved to crush any signs of dissent, their retaliation swift and merciless. The rebel base buzzed with activity, yet an undercurrent of tension ran through every action. The victory had come at a cost. Darg was healing, but his injuries were a stark reminder of their vulnerability. The mood was somber, each member contemplating the next move in this dangerous dance. Alex, now more than ever, felt the weight of leadership. He knew the Council would seek to obliterate not just their physical presence, but their spirit. He planned for a final stand, understanding that to truly weaken the Council, they needed more than just military victories. They needed to dismantle their control from within. The plan was intricate, a series of coordinated strikes on key Council installations, but the real intrigue was in infiltrating the Council's inner circle. They needed someone on the inside, someone trusted by the Council, but secretly aligned with the rebels. The task fell to Lyra, whose charisma and strategic mind made her the perfect candidate. With her departure, a shadow of doubt hung over Alex. Could he trust everyone within his ranks? The question lingered, turning his stomach. As Lyra infiltrated the Council under the guise of a defector seeking redemption, the rebels prepared for their strikes. Operations began across the galaxy, but something was off. Movements were betrayed. Ambushes awaited where none should have been. The Council seemed several steps ahead. At the heart of the Council's capital, Lyra uncovered a horrifying truth. A high-ranking member of the rebellion, someone close to Alex, had been feeding information to the Council. The shock of betrayal hit hard, but Lyra managed to send a covert message to Alex before her cover was nearly blown. The name sent chills down Alex's spine. Jenna, the tech genius, had been the mole. Her reasons were complex, rooted in fear for her family, held hostage by the Council as leverage. With this knowledge, the final battle was set. Alex, now with a heavy heart, devised a trap for Jenna, using her last planned betrayal as the bait. The Council, expecting an easy victory, walked into a meticulously planned counter-ambush. The battle was fierce, a cacophony of lasers, explosions, and the clash of wills. In the chaos, Alex confronted Jenna. There were no words. The betrayal was palpable. With a heavy heart, he had to make a decision, one that would haunt him but was necessary for the greater good. As the Council's forces were decimated and their command structure fell into disarray, Lyra, having narrowly escaped, joined the fray. Her inside knowledge allowed the rebels to target the remaining strongholds of the Council's power. The capital was in flames, symbols of oppression falling, but the cost was immense. Lives were lost, and trust shattered. Yet, amid the destruction, a new dawn was rising. The Council's grip was loosening, their once unquestioned authority now in tatters. The final moments of the battle saw the Council's last bastion collapsing, not just from external forces, but from within, as more and more of their own turned against them, inspired by the rebels' resilience. As the smoke cleared, Alex stood amidst the ruins, the weight of victory mixed with the sorrow of betrayal and loss. The fight for freedom was not over, but the Council's reign was at its end. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would he. The sky above Zalor was a canvas of chaos and change. The city, once the epitome of the Council's power, now lay in ruins, a testament to the rebellion's resolve. Fires lit up the horizon, casting long shadows over the battlefield where the last of the Council's forces made their stand. Alex, now battle-weary but driven by the vision of a free galaxy, led a mixed battalion of humans, Silent Ones, Luminari, and Belzarians. The air was thick with the smell of burnt metal and the sounds of clashing forces. Each step towards the Council's command center was fraught with danger, but the rebels pressed on, their unity their greatest weapon. The command center, a towering structure of dark metal and glass, was the final bastion. Inside, the council members, once untouchable, were now cornered. The rebels had cut off all escape routes, and the battle had moved from the streets to the corridors of power. As Alex and his team breached the building, they encountered resistance at every turn. Elite guards, equipped with the latest council tech, fought fiercely, but the rebels had learned to counter them. The Silent Ones moved like shadows, disarming and disabling foes with precision, while the Belzarians used their matter manipulation to reshape the environment to their advantage, creating barriers and weapons on the fly. In the heart of the command center, the council members were gathered, their faces a mix of fury and fear. They activated their last line of defense, a series of automated drones designed to obliterate intruders. The room turned into a storm of metal and fire, but the rebels were prepared. Jenna, now a prisoner rather than a traitor, was forced to assist. With her hands bound, she accessed the system to disable the drones. Her actions were a redemption, however small, and the drones fell from the sky, crashing harmlessly around them. The final confrontation was inevitable. Alex faced the High Chancellor, the architect of so much suffering. The Chancellor, armed with personal shields and a weapon of dark energy, was a formidable foe. The battle was intense, each combatant pushing their limits. But the tide had turned. Lyra, having made her way through the chaos, joined Alex, her skills complementing his in this dance of death. Together, they overwhelmed the Chancellor's defenses. With a final, desperate strike, Alex's blade found its mark, and the High Chancellor fell, the symbol of tyranny crashing to the ground. With the Chancellor defeated, the remaining council members surrendered, their once invincible facade shattered. The room fell silent, the only sounds the crackling of fires and the distant echoes of victory. Outside, the city was reclaiming its freedom. The allies of the rebellion, now emboldened by the fall of the council, began the process of reconstruction. The Silent Ones used their technology to clear debris, the Luminari healed the wounded, and the Belzarians reshaped the city's scars into symbols of hope. Back at the command center, Alex looked around at his comrades. Lyra, now a symbol of resilience. Envar, whose stealth had turned the tide. Aaron, whose light had guided them through darkness. And even Jenna, whose betrayal had taught them the cost of trust. Each had played their part in this epic saga. "It's over," Alex said, his voice heavy with the weight of what they had achieved. "But this is just the beginning of our real work." The galaxy would need healing, not just from physical destruction, but from centuries of oppression. A new council was formed, one of equals, where humans, Silent Ones, Luminari, and Belzarians, among others, would have a voice. This new galactic union would strive for peace and justice, learning from the past's mistakes. As they stepped outside, into the light of a new day, the sun rose over Zalor, not just illuminating the ruins, but casting rays of hope. They had won, not just a battle, but the chance to forge a future where all could live free. The galaxy would remember this day, not as the end of war, but as the dawn of a new era, where humanity was a celebration of all species united in liberty.